thank you again, the Mechanic to Mechanic. We want to say welcome, Brando, to be part of the group.
Yeah.
Brandon's in the house tonight.
Brando, thank you to be with us, right? And we're just so crazy waiting for you, to be part of the group. Please tell us a little bit more about your experience.
Well, I'm a mechanic. I believe very strongly in people who work in this industry and manage these shops and stuff being good mechanics at some point in their career. So that's how I started. I started as a mechanic for Van Yart Nissan in High Point. Actually started as a backyard mechanic with my dad, fixing salvage cars and reselling them for many years. And you have to be a very creative mechanic to do that. But went from that, became an official mechanic. My wife pushed me real hard to do it. I quickly got picked up by Mavis because they needed a master tech Mavis Master Tech, a very good technician to run multiple locations. It's basically the guy who goes to each store, 14 locations, and fixes problem jobs. So that's what I got hired on to do for Mavis. I had my home store, and then we bounced around. So did well at that, and then they forced me into a management position. So now I do this.
Brando, I got a question.
Yeah.
Right, I got a question. One of the reasons question that I have is like this. How you feel to be a technician, right, for years and move to the manager role? How was that? How was that?
How was the transition? Yeah.
I fought it.
Like it? Do you hate it?
I fought it for a long time. I don't not like people. I love people, and I love cars. I love both. But cars don't argue with you. I know everybody's heard that one before. And I built a very efficient system. I trained a lot of mechanics from Mavis on how to do that system. So I was kind of attached to my project currently. But when I did have to, my elbows kind of retired me. I have tendonitis that caused my arms to swell.
Yeah.
When I did have to go into it, it's kind of bittersweet, but I'm glad I did because I learned a lesson when I moved up, and that was that if you're a leader by example and you move up in a company with the people who support you and teach you and hire you in the first place, you're going to have a great experience leading that shop because you're going to more opportunities. So you're developing yourself. I think it's a natural process for a good mechanic to become a store manager and feed this community good, wholesome work where they can get their cars fixed.
Something when you say, it make a lot of sense. Right now, let's say it's how you training the people.
Yeah.
And I think, a lot of mechanics,
a lot of
technicians, they are good technicians, but they need training.
Yeah, I think all of us know, and you got to know, we're always training every day.
Continuous training, what we should be.
We should be. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Brandon. Where does the love come from? Where does the love come from? I know you mentioned you and your pops working in the backyard.
I always liked how cars were shaped and how they looked, and then I realized I like horsepower more. So I want both. I'm a both kind of guy. I like pretty cars and fast cars, but that passion also it helped me appreciate that cars are legs they're our legs now. We don't really have legs anymore. Everything we need to walk to is 10, 15 miles away. So I learned as I got into it from a childish view, which not childish. I don't want to say that, but a developing view of I think cars are cool. I learned it was really great to put people in cars that work and make sure that they're taken care of. And then I fell in love with getting people to work and getting people to the hospital and getting people home.
That's our mission. That's our mission right now. We have we've been talking about this, a couple, long time ago, the value of the technicians, the value of the repair shop, what they represent for the community.
Yes.
What I say to you, every time you do an oil change, every time you do a brake job, every time you do an engine swap, right, you guys move money in the market. Because when that car is done, it's going to go to a supermarket, it's going to go to a clinic, it's going to go to a pharmacy, it's going to go to a hardware store. It's going to have the people, the guy who owns that car, spending money to another places, to another businesses. Plus, the other thing is, right, he's going to take that person to work. He's going to generate the money.
Yeah. That's the biggest part. It's that paycheck.
Yeah.
You're blessing somebody with knowing that they can spend their paycheck and take care of their family.
We were talking about that, and I want you to chime in on that. When the pandemic started and how we talk about the value mechanics, the mechanic shops, and what they bring not only to the personal vehicle, but we got the ambulances and all those types of mechanics. But,
we work on those as well.
I want your opinion on how when you guys, how they labeled us as essential. We're essential, it was, we couldn't shut down. And how was that period in your shop or in your eyes with your guys? Were you guys worried? Were you not? Was it?
I came into the industry during COVID, pretty much. Like I was coming up, so a lot of my popping off and moving into bigger, better jobs was during COVID.
Yeah.
And because it being during COVID, my perspective of how essential we were really locked in, because there's a lot of people who were scared, mechanics, that they're going to lose their jobs and stuff. And that is the one industry that did not get touched. Doctors and nurses were having to lay people off before we did.
They needed to get to work also, so they needed their car services.
They got it. Yep.
We're in the middle of COVID, right? What happened? We don't have technicians fixing cars in that time.
No, wow.
We got people. They need medicine. People they need food. People they need
drivers,
stuff. People we isolated. In houses. For months. For weeks. It was kind of rough. And believe it or not, one of the reasons I have more respect for what you're doing right now is because COVID, right?
Yeah.
COVID really put, a lot of people.
I think
in
COVID put. I think COVID put automotive repair on the map.
Yeah, it
I
should.
really did. I think it changed people's perspective of how essential the automotive repair industry was.
And I think, as a consumer, the consumer have to realize how important you are for the community and value what you do.
Yeah.
When I say to you, value what you do, is okay, man. I want to take my car to your place. I want to take my car to a driver's place. I want to take my car to the guy that he get up in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, order parts. Have this guy, fixing cars every single day to make sure you're gonna go to work.
I think we both know that you gain a lot of return customers over time. It's because fixing a car for somebody is an emotional experience.
It is.
It is. They get attached to you. You're going to get attached to them. And if you're developing a really good shop, that's just going to keep growing until you have to open a new store. That's pretty much how it works.
Yeah. And then that's one of the things that we want all our viewers to know, is that we're here to make sure that everybody knows how valuable shops are and how valuable, what a necessity it has been for vehicles to keep on rolling in America.
New or old.
Yeah. So essentially, very essential.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
I think another thing is, as a consumer, as a technician, mechanic, like say, everybody depends on people, right? Yeah, the mechanic, they depend about customer, the customer depend about the mechanic.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. We depend on each other.
Family.
Yeah,
that's right.
We have an episode, we're talking about the 7 red flag. A bad customer.
We're
talking about how you can determine, what's a bad customer. But the other thing is that we're gonna talking about tonight is do it right.
Yeah, do it right.
Do it right.
Do it right.
I like the right.
When I say
do
to you is do it right, that means taking the car to the right place. That place is gonna have the right tools.
Yep.
And they're gonna have the right technicians.
Yep.
Right.
Training.
Yep.
Right?
Back to training.
So that means it's very important for the consumer to understand that do it right costs. And what is the price for that? Right?
Yeah. We were talking about this earlier. I like where you're going with that, because you're talking about how there's cheap prices and really expensive prices, but there's also a right price.
Yeah.
Where you're paying a good amount of money for a shop that has a good reputation, who's going to finish it in a good amount of time, not too fast, not too slow. So it's kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, but finding that Goldilocks shop is essential, and people find them.
Yeah.
But for instance, like for brake jobs, you're talking about how a $30-$40 pad and rotor job, you're getting very soft rotors and very loud pads, which is a bad experience for the customer, but they can stop. And then you also have other jobs that are $800 per axle or $1,200 per axle for a regular, 2017, 2018 sedan, which is way too much. You want to find a shop who's, good reputation and probably charging you around $480 to $515 for good pads and rotors that they're going to give you a guarantee on. That's something customers can look for. If they see that, this is probably a good shop. They're charging the right amount, and they're offering a good quality product, and they're offering you a good guarantee on that product.
So it's a great point. It's a great point, looking, because people sometimes, they go by pricing, right? Because they believe, okay, the common question that I hear every time when I go to a shop is, why is too much?
What is too much?
So,
depends on you.
Yeah, but you never have that customer going back to a shop and say, why you charge me too low?
Never.
Right?
No.
Never.
Yeah.
They're never gonna check their
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say to you, you as a consumer, me as a consumer, right? I really like to compare why you charge me $500 and why you charge me $200, right?
Yeah.
I want to know what is the difference.
What's the
right?
difference?
So,
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
worked on vehicles out of a shop,
yep.
and then now you are in a shop,
Mhm.
in your own shop, and you're running
Yep.
the shop, and,
Yeah.
and you know there's different costs,
Right.
and there's different quality, like
Oh,
we
yeah.
were talking about. So yeah, we want the consumer to know what's the difference in your
In my eyes, the difference is time and quality.
time and
So
quality.
time for the technician to finish the job and quality of product.
Okay.
You don't want the top tier brakes and rotors. You're going to get Akabonos with, floated rotors and things like that. And we're talking $3,000 brake job.
Yeah,
So if we're talking the best possible product, that's a kind of an obscure statement, seeing as the industry is the way it is. You want usually the middle one or the second one up.
okay.
And then with the technician, you want to make sure that the amount of time that they're allotting for payment, that means the shop's hourly cost on the job and how long they're going to give the technician to finish, is enough time for him to do a good job for a
Good
good
and right.
price. Good and right. That's
Do it right. Do it
So
right.
there's a procedure.
It
Yeah.
is.
So
It is.
Some people do it
Yeah.
with not the
super
right
cheap,
procedure,
super cheap jobs are always rushed.
Yeah.
That's a
Always
rule
rushed.
everybody can live by.
and they don't do the little things that matter. They
Look at
don't.
this, like say, okay, man, me as a
Try
consumer,
pads.
me as a consumer, I'm gonna take my car,
Yeah.
to a shop or to a mechanic and say, listen, I need to do a brake job.
Mhm.
And Brandon told me, he said, okay, man, Gary, I can get it done, tomorrow. Bring the car around 2 o'clock. It's gonna be 2 hours, right?
Yep.
It's gonna be $450. And I said, Brandon, what kind of part you gonna use? Okay, I'm gonna use a good quality brake pads,
Mhm.
maybe Planum pads, from. So, but right, okay. I said, okay, let me check around. And I'm gonna go to XX shop, right the road, right? And say, okay, man, how much you send me for a break? And the guy said, okay, man, I'm gonna charge you $200. Right, but you need to leave the car right here and come back later. I can pick him up and you can pick him up. Right, okay. I'm gonna save $200, but I don't
Yeah.
know what kind of brakes they're gonna use.
Right.
I don't know what kind of brake job they're gonna perform.
Warranty?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Warranty
Yeah.
on it?
Right.
So in the
A
other
lot of
thing-
times that's not mentioned when those type of jobs are offered. They're
But
not going to mention it.
you say something that he really, as a consumer,
Mhm.
you need to take in consideration the time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because if I'm gonna leave my car in a shop and I have to wait 2 days to get it back,
Oh yeah, no. That's why we have flat rate time.
they're gonna cost me.
Yeah, shouldn't
They're
take 2
gonna,
days.
they're gonna cost me. They're gonna cost me more money.
Yeah.
Right? As as a consumer, right? And I see that happen a lot.
The shop's also gonna cost themselves more money.
Oh, yeah.
That's the funny part about that is those shops that do that, they do cost you money. They
Yeah.
also end up costing themselves money.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a management thing.
Not only that, if you have the wrong technician, that might damage something while they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna.
You
More
think
time.
that
It's-
guy? You
it's-
think the
It's
chap
a
that
mess.
It's a mess.
you
It's a
think
mess.
the chap
So
that
there's a
he
difference.
charge you $200 and the process to doing that job, he break another part. He's gonna tell you he's not.
Probably not.
Good.
Yeah, it should, but it's
I
not.
hope he'd be that kind of shop.
Yeah,
but,
I know.
you know.
But what I'm gonna say to you is, okay, man. Really, as a consumer, guys, you need to look for the right place.
Right.
So it's even a safety issue also.
Yeah.
Safety
Quality
issue, too.
time.
Brakes stop a multi-thousand-pound vehicle. That's a safety
That
issue.
you and your
Because-
family in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And also, like say this 50-50, right? Because you know why? Let's go now to the consumer side, Brandon. How many customers you have that are looking for the cheap parts?
I have I actually categorize my customers. There's a lot, but I even have certain types of jobs priced out for the super cheap customer to make sure they're still taken care of if that's all they can afford. I
Yeah,
do,
yeah.
but I do have a limit to that because I will not provide services to a customer if I'm going to put them in danger.
Yeah.
Man.
And it gives you a bad name.
Yeah,
It does. Yeah,
So, you
super
know
cheap
what?
jobs can give you a very bad name.
That's
Yep.
okay. That's what I call this. How you can help the customer.
Yeah,
That's,
Helping the customer. A lot of people say, you know what, man? I help my customer because he take the car to another shop and they say they need to replace the two calipers. No, he don't need to replace the two calipers. only need to replace one.
Yeah, that's
You're not helping.
yeah, you're not,
Yeah.
because that customer is going to have a pulling issue as soon as he leaves.
Yeah, you don't help with
Yeah.
the customer because if that caliper is not, it's not fail now, it's gonna fail in the next 2 or 3 months.
So,
But by logic, by logic, you have to replace that in the same
yeah,
time.
you're right.
So,
Mhm.
what I say to you is,
This will be done right.
yeah,
Right.
you're right.
So do it.
So we have a lot of done right jobs at our shop, and you probably do too. Like for instance, we don't sell catalytic converters and O2 sensors separately.
No.
We
Oh, no, it has to come.
we package them together and we discount the whole package. If you typically get one catalytic converter and two O2 sensors, $2,300. I don't care where you go; it's about $2,300. You come to us, it's about $1,500. So we're basically
You
giving.
package the whole.
We package it.
You help the customer.
So yeah, you're spending a little more now, but in the long run, you save $600-700, and I can consistently do that. But I know you're not going to come back with burned up O2 sensors right after putting a CAD on them and putting old O2 sensors back on.
Yeah.
Oh, you put in that?
Yeah.
You are right.
So stop screwing with the customers.
Yeah.
They're very, these are people. They have families and lives.
And their
Don't do a job where you know they're going to have to come back in 4 or 5 months.
So talking
that's
about
that's a
CAD.
mean thing to do.
So do it.
Yes,
right.
yeah.
I like
talking
it.
talking
Yeah.
about catalytic converters, right? It's a good point. You know
Yeah.
how many people with the car can need 2 catalytic converters want to replace one,
Yeah.
or they want to replace one sensor?
Or they won't want to replace the
I
sensor.
said, guys, educate the customer. You have to educate the customer,
Well,
right?
we allow customers to buy singles and things like that of things where we could have a future failure, but we make them understand and we make them sign off understanding that it might go bad.
Yeah.
Most customers, when they're educated, thank us and say, "Hey, thanks for telling me. I didn't know that, and I don't want to come back in 6 months or
Yeah.
4 months or 3 weeks." You
Not
know?
only that, Brandon, but they will sometimes tend to put the blame on you if you don't let them know that,
Yeah.
that it's
You're right.
recommended by the manufacturer to
Correct.
go ahead and get the sensors
Mhm.
or doing it right the first time.
Do
Doing it right.
Yeah.
Two calories.